Facebook chat, how you guys doing? Thank you for watching. Ganja, like I was saying, was talking about some really weird shit.
Oh no, I was talking that good shit. I was talking that inspirational shit.
That was not inspirational at all. You say some weird things, sir, and I don't like them.
If a small basketball team would have heard me, they would have went all the way to the Nationals. That's how good it was.
What? Jesus, I don't know what the fuck you talking about.
That's that inspirational fucking like Mighty Duck shit, Alan.
Good lord.
Yeah, I love the Mighty Ducks. I refuse to be in a call with anyone that doesn't like the Mighty Ducks.
You are in a call with people. Yeah.
You don't like the Mighty Ducks, Nick?
I did when I was a kid, but I know the difference between quality and fucking nostalgia.
Have you watched this?
Wait, what's
that movie is timeless.
Have you watched the Mighty Ducks since you've been a kid?
No, but that's the thing. I know it was good when I was a kid. Like, the fucking movie sucks, dude.
Don't do it. Like, I hate going back in time and watching all these old
Sometimes that does fuck up.
And I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, why did I like
dude, you know what's the biggest fucking example? In SoundCloud, if you guys can't tell us, you know, your answer for this, but, like, dude, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was mine. Whereas, like, dude, I was in love with that shit. I used to dress up as Roger Rabbit. I used to do the whole fucking thing. I went back and watched it. It's so annoying. It's 2.5 hours of fucking screaming and, like, very emphasized cartoonism. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. I cannot stand that shit.
You have a different opinion, because people who go back and watch that movie are just like, wow, this still holds up.
Oh,
yeah.
I know, I get Nick, because sometimes I went back and recently, no, it was a couple years ago, yeah, my girlfriend at the time never saw, what was that, Night Before Christmas. And I remember watching that movie, like, so many times, my mom would start yelling at me, because I saw the movie, like, 7 times in one day. I fucking can't stand Nightmare Before Christmas. That fucking movie is awful and just tedious.
Your movie opinions are trash.
There's only one good. There's 3 sing-alongs in the first 20 minutes, and only one of them is good. It's back-to-back sing-alongs, and they all. The first one's good. Maybe one song outside of This Is Halloween.
Jack's Lamentation. You got.
You were just. That's because they're Kingdom Hearts bullshit.
No, they got other shit.
Sure, they fucking do.
But okay, so you can really defend this Mighty Ducks movie, Alan? Because that's surprising to me. I mean, look, this movie is not. There's so much slapstick shit. There's so much like very obvious kid stuff that's just like.
It's okay. The reason I defend it is that I'm sure that there are parts of it that haven't aged well just because hey, it was a '90s movie. But it's one of the things, especially as watching it as a kid, is that there was always so much that. Every single it's weird because you're showing this. I remember maybe there's multiple Mighty Ducks movies and they did a remake or whatever. Because this is really way older than I remember, but whatever. One of the things that I liked about the movie is that every kid in there had some version of a problem. That it wasn't just solvable. Oh, just get better. It was like every single person had some sort of quirk, or not some sort of quirk, something wrong with them. That is like they had to learn through teamwork to kind of get used to it. And it's like that's something that I appreciated. Where it's like nobody there was perfect, but they learned to work together to overcome their differences. Why are y'all laughing?
I'm sorry.
What happened?
I don't fucking know. I was trying to explain, and then these two are fucking laughing.
Fucking Chuckle Brothers over there.
Yeah, they had a fucking sister too.
What you were saying, and they're all duck related, man.
Yeah, like that's the thing too. Like I literally just said, like because I thought you said quack earlier. Nothing, man. It's all
I don't fucking know what's going on, man. I'm trying to explain myself, and y'all are just like fucking laughing your asses off.
Like I still actually don't get what was so funny originally. Like I don't know.
I'm just trying to explain the fucking movie.
No, I'm typing. I'm trying to fuck with Alan inside the chat, and I'm zoned out just listening to you guys like I would an actual podcast, and I hope you guys enjoy us like that. And I'm typing to the people inside the Twitch, YouTube, and whatnot. And Jet just throws this under the conversation Alan's having with us, and she just goes, "They're not ducks; those are human beings." And I started laughing my ass off. I just started laughing my ass off.
And you wonder what we had this conversation. I'm not even kidding. We had this conversation a fucking hour ago, and Nick's like, "Yo, man, when you say something funny, don't say anything because they're laughing at your jokes." No, motherfuckers, those two were chuckling at some stupid bullshit that someone else fucking said while I was talking.
Sometimes
this whole time I thought those were like fucking ducks. Can you blame it with all the goddamn duck shows that came out?
No.
You got Darkwing Duck. You got the fucking DuckTales. I'm pretty sure there was a fucking hockey show that actually did have fucking ducks.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and it was called The Mighty Ducks, but that's not the point.
No, that is a point. That's the issue with this. Is that
no, but like
some people might think Emilio Estevez is fucking doing voice acting for goddamn some duck, some animated
duck
somewhere.
It was a weird ass like show where they're traveling through space and shit. It was the fucking '90s. But again, like I said, one of the things I liked about it is everybody had a problem that was solved just by working together, like getting used to people. It's like you're dealing with your friends, your team, whatever at work. Like not everyone's going to be perfect. Everyone's going to have something they're good at or something they're bad at, and we have to work together. And you see that over the course of the movie where this coach is like, yeah, I'm just going to make you guys work together so that you can fix each other's problems and not just sit there. It's like, well, you got to be the best team. It's like, no. If you work together, you'll have the most fun and maybe you'll be a good team too. But the most important thing is working together. And it's like, that's why I love that movie. I'm not going to talk about the sequel. Shut the fuck up, Ganja. How about that?
You guys are going to fucking fight each other by the end of this goddamn shit. And if you guys want to see what that happened, definitely stay here to the fucking very end. We got lots of movie reviews to go through today. We're talking about Division. We're talking about lots of stuff that's going on. I know YouTube's over here just barely starting to kind of get started. Days in there, Die. What the fuck is his name again? Die.
Hey, 3 letters. What is wrong with y'all?
But the thing is, you can say that differently. It's like read and read. It's like you can say things in a different particular fucking fashion. I'm just trying to respect the man and actually get it right for once.
You've been getting it consistently wrong. He had to change his name
I'm
like 4
working on
times.
it, Alan. I'm working on it.
You're failing.
Jesus Christ, man. Just like what JP said. Quack, god dang quack.
What?
That's what JP said. I don't know.
Of course, a guy named Birdman will love the Mighty Ducks. That's all I'm with out there. I don't want to say.
Oh yeah. I'm in fuck all of y'all. You like the Mighty Ducks too, you bitch. Don't fucking get at me.
I definitely recommend SoundCloud to come check out the live stream because I showed the chat the entire time. So when Alan's talking about something and you guys are wondering why we're laughing or wondering what I'm referring to, the chat's just talking shit the whole fucking time usually. And you get people like JP just saying randomly quack, goddamn quack. I'm like, what? But anyways. Yeah, man, Mighty Ducks is one. But you asked a question in chat, I'm going to ask everybody else in here. Like, Jed, what's a movie that you thought that was good back in the day and now you watch it and think it fucking sucks?
Oh, well, it's an easy one. Fucking Space Jam.
I don't think that movie sucks,
I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Yeah, you're
How dare you disrespect
Space Jam
it?
is a classic. It
That
was still a good
was
movie.
horrible.
Nah. Hey, I'll say not every single Looney Tunes movie works, and I'll say Space Jam's not as good as people say it is. It's still a good movie.
But what's one of the things that you think is so frustrating to watch now, Jed, or something that's unwatchable now? Like, what's that one thing that's like, okay, that part, that's not fucking defendable?
Honestly, I don't really have that many. Like, I rarely go back and rewatch movies. Space Jam just came on one day and I was too lazy to change the channel. That was just like, not good. That's honestly one of the reasons why I choose not to rewatch something after so long, because like they said, like, it just loses its magic.
Yeah, nostalgia doesn't really stick around that long. It has a very small shelf life. Bill Murray was just way too cartoony here too. I was like, dude, you're fucking awful. Michael Jordan was terrible.
Movie for like 5 minutes.
No, but still, man. And then even Newman, like I thought, like Wayne, what's his name? Wayne Knight.
Who cares, Newman? Everyone knows that.
Yeah. Well, fuck you.
Whoa. Okay. I'm sorry,
Alan
Ryan.
No,
welcome.
Put the target on yourself.
No. I gotta call someone out.
Everybody talk at the same time. It's so entertaining to hear like 3,000 voices yelling in your ear.
Exactly. Go ahead, Alan.
Anyway, I was gonna say someone in the chat, Ryan just popped in. Ryan, I appreciate you're here, but Looney Tunes Back in Action is not superior to Space Jam. I'm sorry, you are wrong.
Oh my god, Looney Tunes Back in Action.
That was the sequel. That was the movie that came out after Space, or at least sometime after Space Jam.
The thing is, Ryan,
I know, but I thought that was like some kind of a dream. I didn't think that was real.
Oh, that was real. Unlike GT, that was real.
No, but the thing is, Ryan Walton, I like to think of him as being a guy who knows his shit very, very well when it comes to cartoons, anime, etc. Like, I gotta say, if he says that, I think this is something we should watch in the after hours at some point, Alan. You know, like.
I mean, fuck it, we've watched Words.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser's in this apparently too.
Yeah, that's the reason why we don't watch in the after hours. Fuck Brendan Fraser.
But everyone's going nuts about DC Doom Patrol. Like,
because that's the only. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna say this straight up. I don't care what movies you fucking watch. The only time I've ever enjoyed Brendan Fraser is in Doom Patrol. He sucked in the Mummy movies, all fucking 3 of them. Like, and I don't even know anything else he's fucking been in. He's not a good actor. They just somehow managed to make him work in Doom Patrol.
What do you got against mummies, huh?
The fucking Mummy movies suck. All 3 of them suck.
Well, yeah, the 2017 one.
Hey, I say it all the time.
Oh my god, that was not bad.
I'm surprised you guys are surprised at this point.
By the way, this movie automatically gets. Thank you, Ryan. By the way, I am gonna watch this at my own private time because I'm not gonna have him fucking ruin this shit. But Bill Goldberg's in this movie. Fuck yeah.
Well, fucking what?
Dude. He's one of the best fucking wrestlers of all time. He's WCW's
Oh
number 1 fucking wrestler. And the chat. Togi, fucking Max, fucking Eddie, fucking Gary. You guys tell me how much you love Bill Goldberg and tell this motherfucker he's wrong because I don't know.
So Goldberg, how we have a long history of wrestlers being in movies and then being shit in it.
The Rock's the
But
biggest
how long
movie
was he in
star.
the movie? Was it like
Yeah,
15
The
seconds?
Rock is the biggest movie star, but I mean, Stone Cold's done a handful of movies, and none of them have been good. What, you didn't even tell me you like The Condemned?
And that movie's great. You just named
That
the
movie's
only good
awful.
one.
That movie's fucking
that
awful.
movie's awesome, and the first Expendables built an entire fucking franchise. Like, dude, come on now. Why
The
you
first
gotta be wrong all
Expendables,
the time?
he was the most expendable person in there. He just gets lit on fire and dies halfway through.
But the movie is good. It's not about fucking Stone Cold. He's a goddamn bad guy. He's...
Stone Cold's not even a badass in there. He gets lit on fire and dies.
Oh, see, I bet you wouldn't say to Stone Cold's
Look at
face.
the bad opinions that come out. This
There's a
little
lot
bit.
I would have said to Stone Cold's face. Doesn't mean my opinion changes.
Yeah, that's why you get your ass kicked. You'd be like, give me that goddamn green shirt, you little motherfucker.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna sit there and
Ah!
go up to the person and say, you know what he'd say? He'd probably be like, yeah, you're right. I mean, not like,
I
we
would
argue
be
with the
like,
Condemned, but he
who
might.
that reporter got his ass kicked talking about wrestling his fake? And the motherfucker just started beating his ass. Oh, you think it's fake, huh? You think it's fake? You think it's fake, huh? Huh?
I never said
Alan.
wrestling is fake. I say you suck in movies.
And Alan's like, but the choreography was good.
Bah, bah, bah.
Hey, if someone filmed it, like, hey, that was great choreography, him beating my ass. The Condemned still sucked.
The wrestling
Well, I
he threw
mean-
out and he turned into a ragdoll, like one of those 90s movies when they throw like these little stuffed animals.
He's gonna toss me through a fucking window.
And
man.
by the way, you know what the thing that sucks about Alan too is like this motherfucker was talking shit about that. I bet you he likes Hunger Games, which is the same fucking thing.
Fuck no.
Yeah, right. I bet. I
Hell no, I do.
Didn't
You don't know
get
my
excited
history.
about Maze Runner probably? I could have sworn you were talking about Maze Runner.
Maze
before.
Runner was fine. I watched the
It's the
first
same
one.
fucking thing. Oh, you
It's not the
bastard.
same fucking thing. Maze Runner and Hunger Games and Condemned are the same thing. Like they're almost identical things. That's a fine thing. Maze Runner is something that's completely fucking weird in its own fucking thing. Same thing with Divergent. They're just a bunch of.
Oh, sorry about interrupting, but no, Rock's saying Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Yeah, that movie fucking sucks. And I remember my sister was crazy about that movie back in the day. Did you guys like Pee-wee's Big Adventure at all?
Nah.
I still like it, and I rewatched it recently. I still like it.
Okay.
Oh, I went back and I watched some shit that's some terrible shit that even for like the standard of the day, I should have knew what I was in for. But I had to go back. We talked about it so much on the show. We talked about it so much in the after hours, and even in my own personal life, we talked about this series of cartoons that a lot of Christian children probably remember growing up watching. One night I was bored. I was hanging out with my mom. I put on VeggieTales.
Trash.
Why? Why would you do that to yourself, man?
I put on because I remember one episode in particular that I always liked when I was in because I went to Christian school from kindergarten until all the way to third grade. And I remember there was one in particular in the second grade that I loved the fucking episode, and anytime they put it on, I was actually enjoyed. And it was with the I think it was a cucumber would become a superhero, and his whole goal was to defeat these villains that all represent sin. And I think it's showing one of them right now is it actually fights a giant vine from space. Or some shit that has the lie vine. So as people in the neighborhoods tell lies, and they start telling myths on each other, the vine grows and it gets stronger, and he tries to defeat the vine. And it's all about people coming together and being honest and truthful and not lying in front of God. And it's all about symbolism and how you should always be truthful and respect God in that sense. It was some cheesy shit, and I passed out halfway through it. But man, the animation is bad. The voice acting is terrible. The only thing that still holds up is that iconic song, and that's because it was bad from the beginning.
Yeah,
Do
no.
you think?
Go ahead.
Do you think the devil in the VeggieTales is basically just a blender?
Man.
No, he's sugar. He'd be candy or something.
Yeah.
Actually, it's just Seth Rogen's laugh as he makes Sausage Party.
Oh god, I hate Seth Rogen's laugh. Seth Rogen is one of those people where I kind of appreciate his catalog of work because he always tries to produce all sorts of stuff, but I hate him as an actor.
Yeah, no, by the way, too, I'm talking in the YouTube chat, too. A couple people are making fun of me saying, yeah, best wrestler ever. Yeah, Goldberg's one of the fucking best. But the thing is, though, yeah, if you guys have any answers for your thing, too, let us know as far as, stuff, shows or movies that are fucking terrible now.
Oh, I just remembered one.
Which one?
Oh, no.
Okay, when I was about, maybe 5 or 4 years old, there was this one, very, very short, special or whatever about Rainbow Bright. That I would always get, I would always rent from fucking Blockbuster because I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me. And, the thing is, it was live action, too. It's called Rainbow Bright, saves the zoo or some shit.
Oh,
I got curious about it and, rewatched that about, I think a year ago.
Oh, shit.
Man, I was a dumbass kid.
Okay, please tell me this is it, but this looks fucking horrifying to me. The dude with the big fucking nose with the glasses.
Yep, that's it.
This is horrifying. No wonder why you're all fucked up. This is terrible. This is
a
scary.
bad trip at Disney World.
What the fuck is this shit? What kind of lazy ass Muppets is this?
Dude, that Muppet on the right looks like my dad.
See, Alan, this is the shit you would have seen if we didn't take that ketchup away from you in New York.
Yeah, no shit. This is
So
actually
people listening on SoundCloud, there's like this giant red tomato-looking motherfucker with this big Jewish nose, and then there's this like night.
Wow, you.
Yeah, why'd you say that?
Why would you say that? What is wrong with you?
Ganja's also
the
Jewish.
Just looking at you now, just going like, wow.
No,
I'm
Jesus
just trying to
Christ.
myself.
Y'all-
You need to
y'all
go
coming
for
out
all
before I
like
can
anti-Jewish
finish.
dick.
At the same time, guys.
Hold on, no, y'all ain't gonna do me like that. Y'all coming out for
Yeah, we
Go
are.
back. Go back to that shit.
No.
Go back to that shit.
All right.
You're not telling me that's not what they're doing right now with that tomato. They got him in like this little sundress hat and these little glasses look like somebody from fucking visiting Florida.
No.
I know what's going on.
Stop trying to cover up your racism.
Alan, I'm not you. I don't have to hate on people.
You just did.
No, I'm sorry. You cannot divert this. You fucked up, sir.
I didn't fuck up because I know what's going on here, man. That's
No,
exactly
you
what you're doing
don't.
with this shit.
But anyway,
Well, hey, don't worry. JP has your back.
Bright in that.
And Julius's big Jewish nose, and I have it.
I don't want to hear you, Julian, because your fucking nose handle is way worse than what I just said.
Yeah, no shit.
Are you just doubling down on this now?
Yo, have you seen his handle on a rabbit?
Motherfucker! Oh, I thought you were talking about his nose. Okay.
No!
God damn, y'all got
You said his handle. I thought you were
Alan,
making
you are
another
really-
joke.
Alan, are you trying to drive this bus right now?
No, trust me, this bus is long gone to Maine, man.
Alan, if I were you, I'd recommend just staying out of this because he is under that bus, and that bus is fast.
That bus is gone all the
I'm
way.
trying to turn this bus around right now. Goddamn!
No, and Alan still found some fucking way.
I see the bodies right in front of me. I'm trying to turn the fuck around, and you guys aren't letting me.
It's like I've never seen Ganja made it. Like there's no room to get next to him under that bus, and Alan fucking slept.
No, I thought he was
and
talking about some
slept
other bullshit. That didn't hit me, man. Y'all just exaggerate.
Turn around.
God,
Oh
damn.
god, that was terrible.
People, speaking of racism, Division 2 is apparently gonna have Mexico build that fucking wall. I was shocked as fuck.
Oh, okay, I need to know this story because I don't actually believe this is real.
This is real.
I think
man.
you just made this up.
I did not. I saw on Screen Rant, then I looked on Polygon, and yeah, it's apparently a fucking thing going on here. And I mean, here's the thing. So what I was telling you about this, like how I've seen this happen before, and it didn't turn out so well when it could have. There's a movie that did the same thing. It's a movie from 2003. It's about weather, etc. It was made by Roland Emmerich, or what? Yeah, I think Roland Emmerich.
Roland Emmerich?
The guy who did Independence Day and Godzilla.
Oh god, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. So, anyways, do you know what movie I'm talking about, Alan? Because you should probably remember this.
Patriot?
No, try it one more time.
No, I got nothing. I hate Roland
Okay.
Emmerich.
The Day After Tomorrow.
Oh god.
So when the storms hit and the tornadoes are taking over California and the fucking New York is covered in fucking snow and ice and all this bullshit happening, there's a big news thing that happens where a bunch of Americans, and they make sure to show white people, like just white people, they try to go back to Mexico and Mexico builds a wall to
I
keep them
remember
out.
that fucking scene. Yeah, because people were just running across the fucking border because Mexico's the only. Because apparently the entire cold just affected America.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing that's funny about this is that, you know, like with Day After Tomorrow, I thought it was gonna be a really cool thing. Like, oh, dude, that's a cool concept. Imagine Mexico was like the Mecca. Like, dude, I wish I was there. You know, we gotta get the fuck back over there. And I'm sorry for being racist, Mexico, and the whole thing. But they didn't go with it. They just show like a clip on the news on the TV set, and then like that's it. That's the only fucking storyline. So I'm like,
Yeah.
that's something that should definitely, especially nowadays with all the shit that's going on with Trump and etc. And I'm not trying to say I'm on either side, whatever the fuck. I'm not trying to make this a political talk, but I am gonna make this as a creative, you know, turn politics into something interesting talk. Because I think Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, I feel like there's a couple things they did that was pretty interesting, but they didn't go all the way with it. It just became a first-person shooter. And now you got Division 2, and they're going to make this a full-on actual storyline that's kind of...
Really?
Yeah, apparently it's going to be like a big fucking thing. And I think it's so smart, because we don't know much in the first Division, Alan, I don't know if you remember this, but we don't really hear about everybody else's situation, right? We only hear about America and what we're dealing with.
Yeah, because they're trying to save Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
The plot of the Division 1 is they're trying to save Christmas. It happens on Black Friday, which is in November, which means Christmas never happened, and we're trying to solve the problem because we want to bring Christmas back.
Yeah, I mean...
We gotta save Santa.
Exactly. We have to save Santa.
These bad guys are breaking the Santa laws. But here's the
Dude,
thing.
you have a fight. Like, one of the first missions is you're in a mall, and you have to stop it from burning down, and there's a giant Christmas tree there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get that. I find it funny that you brought that up. But at the same time, it's like the game does take itself really fucking serious, especially with the virus thing and all the shit that's going on. and it is post-apocalyptic. But then once again, just like 20 Days Later, etc. You know, apocalypse doesn't have to be the entire world. Sometimes movies, TV shows, etc. take it too far, where the entire world's fucked up, and you're kind of wondering. You always ask the question of like, okay, why didn't the humans or the people that weren't sick or whatever? Why didn't they fight back? How did the fuck did zombies get you? How did the disease get you? You know what I mean? And we never kind of learned that. It's so simple just to say the whole world's destroyed.
The thing is they kind of they established again. That's what Julian thinks. He thought I was talking shit about the plot. No, I actually kind of like the idea of it, where it's like Black Friday, so much money gets exchanged, and what the terrorists do is they just put a bunch of they put a disease on there so that it spreads through the fucking money, and it just wipes out the planet. And not the planet. It just wipes out a majority of the Western states in like months. And it's like, yeah, that's actually not a bad like idea. It's basically the plot of it is an old anthrax war plan or whatever that they just adapted into this story, and it's like it works. It really works. It's so light on story that it's like by the end of it, it's like I kind of got the idea of how they did it, and they explain it decently well. But it's very light on it, especially with Division 2. And I played the beta. I'm like, this is a kind of cool idea, but honestly, it's so bland and boring that it's like the concept of Mexico building a wall to stop people from coming in is way more interesting in concept than the game's ever going to pull off.
Well, I want to say that because especially when it comes to story, we have to see how it's going to plan out. But I will say, like, Jed, I'm going to ask you, do you feel like they're only doing this to kind of, I guess, do what I'm praising it for right now? Or do you feel like there actually is going to be a pretty big story with it? I know you don't know Division very well, but from the outside looking in, what do you feel about this?
Well, it's about time Mexico did something about these racist white Americans with their fucking ponchos and their racist sombreros, basically coming in with their unvaccinated children and stuff, basically ruining everything. So you know what? This is good. This is good. Anyway, I don't care if it has a story or not.
Really? So because that's the thing with Tom Clancy games, I feel like none of them really have story. And I don't know, Ganja, have you played any Tom Clancy games from back in the day?
I played mostly when it comes to Rainbow Six, and then the Splinter Cell series because I love.
Oh yeah, Splinter Cell. Right.
Splinter Cell's awesome. Yeah, Splinter Cell's so good you almost think it's not part of this particular series.
Well, not only that, like there was one of the first games that actually pushed their graphics every time a new series would come out, and it was the first time like, hey, I mean, I wish I could cut like through a branch or a tree, or be able to cut through this like metal aspect. And the game actually gives you the ability to do it if you're able to find the tools within the area. And one of my favorite things is I think they added it this in Double Agent was anything that's like plastic or cloth or anything that's cuttable in real life, you can actually cut through it.
Yeah.
So, and I like that attention to detail that they had.
Yeah, and I mean, I love most Tom Clancy games except for, Ghost Recon's actually turned to a pretty bad thing now. I didn't really like Siege all that much, but I understand how people take
Ghost Recon was one of those games that was really trying to be 100% of a military simulator, where in terms of like a lot of the other games were more massive multiplayers or the single third-person experience like Tom Clancy.
I'm going to say it. I don't think there's ever been a single good Ghost Recon game. I think every one of them has sucked.
Really? Even Wildlands, the one that just came out like a year ago?
Wildlands is awful. Boring Lands, I call it. I've been calling it Boring Lands since the day the game released. It's one of the most boring. It's the same problem. Honestly, it feels like the team that made Boring Lands went to make Division 2 because it's just as boring with their boring fucking military.
I need you to stop coming for Borderlands like this.
Yeah, no shit. It sounds like you're saying Borderlands, by the way. I know you're saying Boring Lands.
Anyway, I don't feel like calling it with the actual fucking name. But one of the problems is like the shooting in the Division. It is very, very boring. It doesn't feel good. Like, it's funny because I was like, man, I'm not really liking Anthem. I'm not really enjoying this shooting. Let me play Division. Maybe I'll enjoy that. Holy shit, this is way worse. And then I play Anthem. I'm like, okay, this is way more fun in every way, shape, or form. The guns actually sound good. It feels good to fire. You play this, and it's like firing a fucking making a joke. It's like you're firing your airsoft rifle. Like you're just playing paintball, and you have to shoot a fucking door with like 300 bullets before I got through a fucking wooden door, and I have a high-powered assault rifle. I'm like, am I just firing paintballs at this fucking thing? It doesn't feel good at all, and it's like, it feels like, again, the Ghost Recon games. Like, I played almost every single fucking one of them. Advanced Warfighter, the second one, Future Soldier, which is a colossal piece of shit. Every one of those games fucking sucks.
Yeah.
What, Nick?
What?
Dude, you scared me. I thought Spoonie was actually dead. I mean, his career is, but like...
Well, I mean, what career, though? The guy was just he's just like us. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, true. Right? I mean, he was getting more money than us. Like, we ain't got no advertisement.
Spinny. God damn it.
And with that joke that y'all sabotaged earlier, I ain't definitely not getting advertisements no more.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's okay. We're gonna edit that out when I don't. So here's the thing, though. Spoonie, by the way, as well. Just so you know, Jet, he's a guy who was working with Nostalgia Critic. Very, very funny guy. I actually recommend everyone that's watching this right now go watch the old Spoonie shit. It's pretty funny. It was funny. It was good.
Spoonie. Which one is that?
He was the crazy.
He was the one with the crazy glasses.
Yeah, Dr. Insano.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. He's
do you remember the Battlefield Earth review?
Oh yeah, he's the one that plays
the crazy guy on the planet. Yeah.
By the way, just before we move on to something that's not video games, Tay, I want to give respect to, by the way, because she's calling your ass out. She's saying, plus, who doesn't love a funny villain like Handsome Jack? Exactly, Tay.
I yelled at this shit last time at a video game show. I fucking hate Borderlands.
You were wrong.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck. I fucking hate Borderlands 2.
Dude,
this ending is just as bad, if not worse, than the first one.
In Borderlands 2, the thing that's funny.
Oh my god.
Dude, yeah, and Borderlands 2 does so many things that so many games that you like do, but they do it well, and you still hate it. It's like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
I don't fuck. There's a lot that fucking game doesn't do well. Like, the game thinks it's so fucking funny. Holy shit, that game is up its own ass.
Man, I guess it's really isn't a place for any heroes right now because you sound like a complete villain right now, Alan.
Shit.
Julian goes to Guns and
Join
Anthem.
Me, Alan. Join me in the dark
like,
side.
Julian says Guns and Anthem feel like doo-doo shit.
As opposed to...
I love that.
He means dodo shit in your hand. He just misspelled it.
Honestly, man, I'll be personally, I have no interest in playing a Division. I played the first one. It came out. It was just a basic shooter, team-up player thing. I didn't see the whole appeal of it. The second one, it's kind of the same situation. It looks like just another massive multiplayer game where you have some kind of objectives and maybe somewhat of a single-player campaign. It's just not for me. But I do like the idea they're fucking with white people and saying, like, yeah, if this ever happened, Mexico would build a wall for you. It's just something enjoyable. I just like the idea they threw that in there. And because, like, one thing that is kind of notorious with Tom Clancy is the series and the books in general. I don't know how the video games are. Sometimes they play both sides. It depends on what series you're playing. But they always tend to be more rah-rah, patriotic, America can do no wrong kind of shit. So it's kind of hilarious that the fact that this one is trying to do like a little bit more of a progressive, like, I guess you would say sting or a jab at people of the conservative audience that want the Mexican wall build. But now it's just they built it to keep out the Americans from bringing that infection over. Which I would love to change the storyline. And the reason it spread so fast is because anti-vaxxers didn't believe in the new vaccine that came out.
It's funny because it would have spread way faster in America because again, it happened on Black Friday. It was done on American money, so it would have traveled way faster in America than it would have traveled in probably other places because that's where it was originally originated. So it would have made sense that they probably would have built a wall way quicker because it would have spread like. America would have been followed, but it's like, oh shit, we can't. They're rushing over here. They would have had time to build it because it would have hit there first way harder than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, no, Toki Pop saying Alan's villain name is Mr. Poop. God, I don't know why I like doo-doo, I like poop, I like caca. It's fucking awesome.
You like poop and you like caca?
And I like why? Okay, you are Latino. You have no excuse to say caca. It's caca. It's caca.
No, I did it all playfully because if you say anything like further than that, it sounds
you
like
decided to go with caca playfully.
Yeah, it's the caca.
I mean, if we're talking about shit, let's play with it, all right?
Speaking of caca, I was about to lose my caca in my pants because I was so excited watching Cobra Kai Season 2. It's going to be fucking awesome, Alan.
Alan?
No.
Alan, baby, help us, please. Jet is leaving. She just gave me a quit letter.
No, we'll let the Chuckle Brothers carry on for this fucking bit.
The Chuckle Brothers, man, I fucked up so bad earlier. I don't trust my jokes.
I know. I'm not even gonna laugh because I'm gonna slowly say some kind of fucked up racial slur in the middle of my fucking.
Oh
laughter.
my god! You're right. I gotta remember, I'm the most mature person here technically. So.
Okay, if you gotta call yourself that, you fucking.
Are you really the most mature one, Birdman?
Compared to the two poo-poo heads here.
By the way, Alan's literally the equivalent of like the little brother who's like, "I'm in charge, guys. I'm
the middle child between y'all. That's for fucking usual in my goddamn life."
Meanwhile, when he's in charge, me and Ganja are outside, like breaking cars and shit and windows.
Yeah, getting arrested.
No, we'll get away with it. That's how this works. So you don't know what happens outside the house.
Will.
A-cab, Alan. A-cab.
Any fucking way. Cobra Kai Season 2. So, basically, like, when the first season came out, it was kind of a surprise hit. No one really expected Cobra Kai to really... Like, people were like, oh, they're excited because they loved the Karate Kid when they were younger. But no one really thought, like, let's do it from a different perspective. And no one actually thought it would work. Especially a YouTube show. Everyone's like, the fuck's YouTube making their own shows? Whatever. But it came out and it was universal praise. Everyone enjoyed the hell out of it. So now we're like, okay, are you guys going to be able to keep the momentum up? Are you going to keep it up? So when season 2 trailer comes out, I was like, wow, I'm actually really, really liking this because I'm liking that they're continuing all the aspects. They're forming this rivalry, and they're doing this. It's weird. It's like they're doing this plot of a fight between these two characters, but they switch perspectives where the hero from the original series, Daniel-san, he's basically de facto becoming the villain in this series, not because he's not because he's necessarily a bad person, but because he can't let go of the past. He is so obsessed that this person, yeah, for the most part, yeah, I keep forgetting the blonde guy's name, and I'm sorry for that. But the blonde guy's like, yeah, he ruined his life when he was a kid. He fucked him over for who knows how many movies. But it's been 30 years where the guy's just trying to make his own dojo. He's just trying to live. Where Daniel-san's like, no, fuck it. I'm gonna keep fucking with this guy because he fucked with me when I was a kid. And you see that throughout this trailer. It's like, yeah, this is kind of that cycle where you end up seeing. It's like where bullies can't, like people that got bullied can't ever grow out of it. So they themselves, they want payback. And for them, it's like it happened yesterday. And you see that, especially season 1, where he cannot let this go. Where it's always there. He has a wife. He has a kid. He has another kid he forgets about. He has a great job. Like, he has everything you think you'd ever want. But it's never enough. He wants to also get payback. He wants that person's life to suffer. But we're seeing it from the quote-unquote, the previous villain's perspective. And we're seeing he's just trying to live his life. He's just trying to pay his bills. He's trying to help these kids out in his own way. And it's like, I love this dynamic that it's like you feel bad for the previous villain and you start to hate the previous hero because of how they grew up. And I really like what this show's doing, especially that line in the show. Yeah, you just showed it with all the lessons are free. I'm like, you are just going out of your way to be a fucking dick.
To the point
You're just
where
going out of your way to be a piece of shit.
Yeah,
and my tongue.
Yeah.
What? What just happened?
You
He just,
gotta
jammed
find a
himself?
way to fucking. You were doing so well.
What the fuck happened, Alan?
He bit his fucking tongue, dude. And
Oh.
then announced it. And then he announced it on the fucking thing.
Alan over here got a little wiggly tongue, huh?
Ah.
A little wiggly tongue.
No,
He's
I
talking
don't
too
know.
fast.
I don't know
It's outside
what the fuck
his mouth,
happened.
goes
Oh, that
everywhere.
fucking hurt so much.
It's
It was going so well.
Jesus Christ. Jesus. I love you so much. Anyway.
Your mouth got exhausted, so I had to stop you the only way it could.
I know, actually, I think
Shut the fuck up.
Danielson has to teach his tongue karate.
Chomp the tongue, Alan. Chomp the tongue.
No,
I was trying to play it off, but it hurt so much.
you didn't have to say it out loud, you
It hurt
jackass.
so much, I couldn't.
But, Ganja,
Alan's mouth was trying to get payback.
his mouth has been dealing with his bullshit for years. But no, Ganja, I'm gonna ask you, man. You and me, we had so much fun because, like you said too, like we didn't really give a fuck about this. And yeah, we binged this in what, like one day, I think?
It was one of those rare shows I think that we watched in the hopes that it was going to be so terrible that we just review it and just bash it for a few minutes, and you guys get to laugh and just hear our best, I think our best jokes, quote unquote, when it comes to our review and our opinion styles when it comes to checking these movies out. But honestly, it was kind of the same thing that happened. I think it was Gen Z or something like that. It was a kids movie where we ended up watching it and it's like, oh god, this is fucking good.
Yeah.
Next episode. And I think by the time we watched, I think it was Ali, Jet, I think all of us were in there actually, and we were watching watching the series, and we binged it almost all the way up to the end. I think we got to episode 10 or 11 before we had to quit because it was like almost 3 o'clock in the morning.
We watched everything but the last episode.
Yeah. So it's one of those movies, not movies. I keep calling it a movie because I'm so used to watching movies on Netflix so far. So everything has like an hour and a half runtime for it, but this is actually a television series done on Netflix. It's just you can binge it so quickly. And I think it's 30 minutes to an hour episodes. I don't know, actually. If it's 30 minutes, then yeah, that's kind of what it goes to my point. Is you can binge it so quickly that it feels like a movie. In a sense, the way this done and the way it's shot, it feels cinematic. And it feels really connected to the old series. But in not a way that they're trying to do callbacks or trying to reference it so much that it's like, oh, I'm just watching a remake of the Karate Kid. It actually tries its best just to connect with the universe and be a true sequel to the series from the 80s. And I think it does it well, and I'm hoping they continue that with the new season.
Yeah, no, I really hope so too. And there's really not a whole lot I can say that you guys haven't already said, other than the fact that, like, I do feel, and I'm going to ask you guys this too, Alan.
What's up?
Mainly, like, does this look better, like, shot than do you feel? Because there's a vibrance with this, and there's a quality to, like, just the way it's shot. I'm like, this feels like a fucking movie. Like, I already felt that way with the first one, but now really with this one, especially with, like, the heft that they're building up with the first season and leaning on to whatever's going to be happening here. I'm like, dude, this feels epic. Like, I'm like, this is a pretty big release. This might be one of the main trending things on YouTube, like, next week or whatever the fuck it's going to come out.
Yeah, it does look like they got a bit better lighting and a bit more of a budget. I just hope that they're going to continue the same story because we've seen it where one season's great, the next season's like, let's just do the same thing that worked last time. I hope that it's like they're able to continue the trend. And one of the things I liked about it is it felt modern, but it didn't feel like they were trying to like change everything. Like it felt like they were trying to keep the core of what made the Karate Kid good, where it's like, hey, discipline and confidence is going to help you a lot. It's not going to solve all your problems, but it's going to get you somewhere where it's like, hey, having confidence, having discipline, sticking to a regiment, those are good things to have, and that's timeless. It's not something in the 80s, even though they keep kind of saying that, where it's like, hey, back in my day, they say that a bunch of times. But then, especially, the main guy, he starts learning, it's like, okay, the things that worked in the 80s worked at the time, but there are things we can take from there. Like, again, one of the coolest character, Hawk, he is just like the most nerdy, shy person ever. He becomes the biggest badass near the end because he starts to embrace this confidence. And I think that I hope they keep that up of like, this is a good show for both adults and kids to watch, to kind of show it's like, yeah, you can have a new generation of kids, but you don't have to sit there and placate and think, oh, well, they just suck there on their phones all day. It's like, no, there are things that can be transferred over.
Jed, I'm gonna ask you really quick too, though, because I know you watch tons of stuff off of like anime, Netflix, Hulu. I mean, we watch basically fucking everything. Do you feel like this is gonna make YouTube Premium something worth actually getting? Would you ever pay for YouTube Premium?
Yeah, that is amazing.
Why you gotta talk shit?
So we'll just watch on Ganges.
Absolutely fucking not. Just one show isn't gonna have me get fucking YouTube Red or whatever the fuck. Like I could just find this show like literally anywhere else on the fucking internet. It's one fucking show.
Yeah, but then again, like, don't you feel? Because I know Ryan Walton in the chat, he was talking about he was talking about good game and Red and Link. No, I honestly feel like it will. I feel like it only takes one big show. I think with Netflix, Arrested Development was that show.
What are those other shows gonna be? Fucking like a PewDiePie show, a fucking Markiplier show, like nah.
Okay. No, but Jet, look at Netflix and how that wasn't shit. It was a fucking rental service, like an online.
Well, when it gets more, like I don't know, 10 more shows, maybe. Like I'm not gonna get fucking YouTube Red just for one fucking show.
Yeah, like Netflix had to build it up because it started with House of Cards, and then they eventually got a bunch of other shows like Narcos and stuff. But it was like 3 or 4 shows where we were like, hey, maybe we should start getting Netflix. But Netflix was already a service that was worth getting because it was a way to get movies and other television shows that were either at a service or you just couldn't fucking get anymore. So it had value before it had original programming. Where YouTube Red doesn't really unless you really hate ads more than anything, it really doesn't have a benefit without the shows.
Yeah, no, but yeah, Raheem, by the way, is saying Alan's rants are lagging. I don't know if that's because of us or because he's just.
I think the Facebook stream's lagging a bit.
By the way, before we move on to the next thing, because we're going to get into reviews now, and by the way, reviews are going to be kind of a lengthy thing, but we're going to try to get through it fast. We can get into the after hours and hang out. A lot of people are kind of feeling like shit tonight. We're going to change that shit by hanging out, watching some YouTube. But Mr. Alan
bring some bright, shiny love.
With our bodies, all over your bodies. No, but the thing is, though, Alan, I'm going to ask you, why is Raheem fucking with you? Like, did you say something that pissed him off, man?
I mean, probably. I talked a lot of shit today, so who knows?
Not as much as I did. I'm gonna pay for that in the future.
But anyways, man. So here's the thing: we're gonna get into the Flexing Show right the fuck now. The thing is, though, I had to wait a second because guess what, Alan?
What?
You're not Alan. Alan ran away.
What do you want?
I forgot to do the Flexing Chill shit on my fucking thing. So I do have to wait a minute. But yeah, talk to the audience. If you guys have any questions, you guys want to say anything at all, we will respond. Because your boy Nick fucked up, and I gotta do some behind the scenes shit.
And for the people on SoundCloud, this is the time where you should put like your comments, talk shit about us, criticize me for that bad joke that I did earlier, which I am not letting go.
Keep reminding them so they never forget.
I'm gonna keep reminding y'all because I found that shit hilarious. Because one, I had a bigger bit in my head, but as you interrupt me halfway, I was like, damn, yeah, that could only have gone south. I'm glad I got stopped halfway through.
See, if you get mad when I cut you off.
All right, no, you cut me out when I have actual good bits.
Did you want to finish it?
I mean, I don't want to finish that one because that's like a half-eaten sandwich now. That's been like 4 hours. There's bacteria on that shit. I ain't trying to get good.
Oh, yeah, because that's the problem. We cut you off from eating that shit sandwich.
Hey, man, that sandwich had mayonnaise, all right? I add a little taste to it.
What the fuck is happening?
I mean, you could have said it had like worms like that one episode of Futurama.
Man, have I told the audience that?
Wait,
No.
What? You haven't told the audience what? Did you eat a worm sandwich?
No, this motherfucker here.
I didn't eat a worm sandwich, but I was at the airport. I think it was in Austin.
This story.
It had to be either the 3rd anniversary time or at least October when we were coming back from the Halloween party. But I was hungry, and like a lot of places had long ass lines. So I'm walking through trying to find something to eat, and they have these little concession stands right in the airports, and one of them was egg salad sandwich. And I know you really shouldn't grab prepackaged egg salad sandwiches, but I was in such a rush and I had my Pepsi and I wanted to drink it so bad with a good sandwich that I just grabbed that motherfucker, put some ketchup on it, and I ate the shit out of it.
Ketchup?
Okay, I don't even know how to break this down. 1, why would you ever buy a prepackaged sandwich? 2, why would you ever buy a prepackaged sandwich that's fucking eggs? 3, why would you ever buy food at a fucking airport that's prepackaged? 3, why the fuck was ketchup involved?
You said
ketchup was there to add taste.
Also, like, 4, like,
did
you get the one from the front and like not reach and get the one from the back?
Yeah, I grabbed the one straight up.
If you
front,
also just drop it on the floor for extra taste.
Oldest ones, like that one could have already been fucking expired.
All right, so what happened is I literally landed. I think it was Saturday, and I was planning to do the show when I got back because I could do that. Like I'm pretty good when it comes to flights. I don't really get jet lagged or anything, so I've done it in the past. But boy, when I got up from that flight and I got home, the world was spinning. My stomach was kicking my ass. It was horrible. It was horrible. I never do that again.
Why did you do it at all?
Yeah.
By the way, those sandwiches are like $6. Just go to a fucking fast food place to get a burger.
It was like 5 or 6 people in line. I was trying to catch my flight.
Bro, so you risk getting an actually caught.
Thing, like you could have gotten a candy bar. You could have gotten some fruit.
I wanted an actual meal.
Sandwich.
I wanted an actual meal, Jack. Can you not forgive me?
So you got an egg salad sandwich and put ketchup on it.
Mm-hmm.
That ketchup was probably a meal too.
You just have been taking L's today like a motherfucker.
Hey man, everybody's got their day, but you see how I'm not acting like a bitch about it, like Alan?
What
you talking about? You've been arguing it for like 5 minutes.
Hey,
I like how you still made it about Alan.
Because I gotta throw somebody on the bus.
Because he does that to me all the time. You two, you're like, oh man, I'm kind of losing. Let me just throw it at Alan. You find a way.
This is why you get picked on, bitch. Like, god damn it.
You will find a way. I know how you work. When your freaking friend here is down, you're like his revive, man.
Yeah, he's my friend.
Yeah, you never helped me out.
Cause you put that together, bitch. You always picking on me.
You're always picking on me.
I love you, Alan. Look, let's just. This is an intervention between the both of us, okay? Listen, I love you, okay? You're my homie. You're my doggy. But you're fucking stupid.
Do I need to ring the bell? I'll ring the
bell. Anyways, we're gonna do this shit right, people. It's time for Flex and Chill, and now we do the slow fade into the into the red. I gotta change the background. I don't like it anymore. I just don't. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You guys had to watch it today, but maybe next week will be different. I don't fucking know. But as you can see, we're gonna have so many things to talk about, and first of all, we gotta talk about the thing that everyone gives a shit about all over the internet, still trending like hardcore, but it's Captain Marvel. Now, I didn't see this movie. Jed didn't see this movie. God didn't see this movie, but Alan likes to watch all the comic book shit because he's a fucking nerd. Alan, what'd you think, man?
I don't know. The best way to kind of start it off is me just randomly joking around calling it Captain Methville, because that's the best way I can sum it up. It's just kind of like there's nothing bad or terrible about it, but there's also nothing good about it either. And I don't ever compare movies to other movies. It's just like, hey, movies should stand on their own, and it is often impossible to separate it, but movies should stand on their own. And the only other comparison is the only other female-driven fucking movie, which is Wonder Woman. And I gotta say, I think I enjoy Wonder Woman more so. I think that this Wonder Woman still has a shit ending. I'll never defend that. But as far as I think Wonder Woman is more consistent in whatever it was trying to do. With Captain Marvel, I never quite understood what it wanted to do. It never had a clear motive. The amnesia it drives the plot, but it only drives the plot as far as it needs to. It's not like a movie where she's constantly trying to figure out it. It's kind of like she's almost half-heartedly trying to figure out what the fuck's actually going on. The Skrull Cure really is only the really last third of the fucking movie. I'm sorry, and I said this in the trailers, and I'm gonna say this right now. I think Brie Larson is terrible in this fucking movie. I think she's wooden. There's a point in the fucking movie where the movie starts off and she walks up and she goes to Jude Law and goes, "Hi, you want to fight?" And it cuts to them fighting. I laughed my ass off. I'm like, this is fake. This can't be fucking real. their development is sporadic. It's not consistent. Nothing in this movie is consistent. Everything that happens in this movie only happens as it feels that it needs to, and it jumps from one set piece to the next. There's only one decent action scene in this whole movie. A lot of the characters feel underdeveloped. The accusers are almost completely worthless in this movie. Her powers are almost her powers make sense at the start, but then just go full into just whatever they need to be to end the movie. And the only time I ever enjoyed her as a character is when she's bouncing off Samuel L. Jackson. Like, Nick Fury and Captain Marvel have great chemistry. When they're talking, they're having a great time. But this movie, I just gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm not liking a lot of this movie. There's a lot of this movie that just doesn't work. There's a lot of the plot that ends up not working. And it doesn't feel like it builds to anything. Like, this movie had a lot of very important things to do. One, you had to establish a new character. I never felt like it did that properly. I don't know anything about Captain Marvel walking in, and I still don't know anything about it now. It's supposed to establish a version of what her powers are, maybe some limitations, or even just some like idea of what her actual powers are. Her powers just seem to be energy discharge. She's basically just Vision's eye blast, but just through her hands. Okay, this is supposed to establish how are you supposed to help the Avengers in 15, 20 years when the bullshit happens. It never really established that either. Are you actually going to help against Thanos? I never felt like she could. I was like, you're just another person with superpowers. Okay, well, maybe you're supposed to establish how you know how a few years. I'm like, okay, cool. You established the connection to S.H.I.E.L.D. and why he'll call you in 15 years. But that's the only thing it really establishes. You had a lot to do with this movie, and none of it worked, I feel. And that's really the worst part. Like, there are some great sequences. There are some really good sequences and some really good acting. But then there's also some really bad acting. And most of the bad acting is from Brie Larson. I think she's a terrible actress in this movie.
Yeah, by the way, I'm looking at the chat too. I guess you're pissing people out because Cedric is saying, I forgot this is the MCA where y'all cool as hell, but hate everything.
No, I'm sorry. Like, I don't hate the movie. I'm not going to say the movie is a piece of shit or the worst Marvel movie I've ever seen. If anyone says it's the worst Marvel movie they've ever seen, they've never seen Iron Man 3 or Thor the Dark World or Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This, to me, is just an movie. It's literally middle of the road. It doesn't excite me in any way like when I saw Aquaman. Like, Aquaman's a run-of-the-mill superhero movie, but I dig the fuck out of it. I didn't enjoy. Stop fucking adding that shit, by the way. But all y'all in the chat.
Hey, I'm just trying to educate the people and tell them what I think about this.
I'm sorry, but even with Wonder Woman, like, there are some issues with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was not a perfect movie. But the thing with Wonder Woman is I understood from the moment the movie started what the focus of the movie was. This entire movie was trying to showcase it being an origin story and all that stuff. The point of the point of Wonder Woman was let's explain why this character said fuck it during World War I. It said I'm not coming back until the literal doomsday starts attacking. And I got that. I got where she was dealing with that stuff, where she's like trying to save the world. She's trying to stop the horrors of man and realizes even after she stops it, she can't save the world. She can't save everyone. She just gives up. It's like, I'm done with this world. She learns a lot about herself, but then she also learns she can't deal with this world. She can't help this world. So when you watch and get to the end of the movie, even with the bullshit ending, it's like, okay, I understood the point of the movie. I understood why you made Wonder Woman. I really don't understand why Captain Marvel was made. It feels rushed. Everything in that movie feels very, very rushed. And honestly, I got to give it a stream it. I don't think that you're missing anything by not watching this movie. And it's really annoying.
And it's annoying, too, considering the fact that Endgame is just going to be next month. So this is kind of like one of those, the more important movies are going to be coming out. I mean, this isn't like an Ant-Man and the Wasp or Spider-Man where you're just going to have fun. Like, this is actually a pretty big fucking film. Sucks. I hate that that's the case. I hate that that's happening. But one thing that I hated as well, man, is something I'm going to review really quick. Just the first half, just the initial thoughts, because I haven't watched the entire fucking thing. But Leaving Neverland.
I'm fun with that shit.
Yeah, Adrian was asking earlier, did we watch this fucking thing? We did. Me and Jet watched just the first part. And I guess, I mean, I don't know if you consider this too of like, what was more important, the aftermath or the crime itself? And Jet, I'm going to ask you really quick, what part of the story were you more interested in hearing about as far as the documentary goes?
Honestly, the victim stories themselves.
Okay, see, for me, I actually wasn't. It's gonna make me sound shitty, and I'm sorry if I offend anyone, because this is one of those. You gotta have balls to review something like this, because if you don't like it, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you don't like it because it's gonna put a guy out there who committed these crimes. Are you an asshole? It's like, yeah, I am an asshole, but not that fucking bad. But I will tell you this much though, I wasn't really caring about their story. I know that Michael Jackson did this shit, and I don't want to hear people's opinions and saying like, oh, they didn't do this or blah blah blah, because it's a weird fucking thing to discuss. But then you watch this thing, and look, I'm not a therapist, people. I gotta tell you right now, I'm kind of like Alex Jones. I'm kind of retarded. So, I'm not gonna say that my opinion is something that anyone else should actually fucking have, but the first thing I came about watching this is I see the mom still smiling, talking about Michael Jackson when they first met him, and how he was so sweet and so kind, like a child, and they liked him, and he's so sweet, and they trust him, and then these victims are talking good about him too, but they all had nothing but nice shit to say for an hour and 45 minutes at the first fucking half of this documentary. And then when they get to like talking about the sexual stuff and the abuse, they're smiling. They're kind of giggling, and they're not taking it. In my opinion, they're not taking it seriously. Now, I don't know a lot about victims to certain things. I've had a few people close to me that would not react this way, and they've had they've been through shit just like this. And from my experiences, people do not act like these two guys do in this documentary. Which a big discussion that's happening all over the internet is, okay, did Michael Jackson do it? Yes or no? And this documentary does not answer that at all. It's not supposed to. It's just about their stories. But Jed, I'm gonna ask you really quick, what do you feel about me feeling that way? I mean, do you think that is there something I'm not getting? Do you think that these guys are being legitimate with the stuff they were saying?
The thing is, not all victims are the same. I will say it's possible that they were kind of smiling while talking about it, because they said earlier, like, just like, yeah, like I didn't hate him when he was doing it. Like I actually enjoyed the time that I had while it was happening, because like I thought this was us getting closer. So, like, when you think about stuff like that, it basically brings back, like, oh, happiness during that time it was happening, but later it just got worse because, he started to bring in other boys and shit, and they were just like, oh, I guess this really didn't mean anything at all.
Yeah.
Because, like, when you first, like, even with relationships, when you first start off, like, abusive relationships, you first start off, like, oh, it's all well and stuff like that, and it wasn't bad at first, but then later it gets abusive. When people are talking about their past relationships, like, there are times where they'll bring up the good stuff and smile about it.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's crazy about this, too, is, like, you think you're going to hear the story about, like, oh, Michael Jackson's an evil motherfucker, and he did this, and this sick fuck. It becomes just their version of the story between a relationship between two people, and it just so happens that one of them is really fucking underage. Like, it becomes a thing of, like, he was a terrible boyfriend. He was very controlling. I got jealous because he was around other people, which, I mean, once again, the story, the only difference is they're underage as well. And then it gets to a point where just the descriptions of certain things. And I remember, like, tonight on What's in the Box, Christian Torres and DJ Mouse talked about this. But they were discussing how, like, you get this pit in your fucking stomach that's just, it makes you feel so uncomfortable hearing about these details that I felt were pretty unnecessary. I know that I guess they had to, like, kind of, take you through what they went through so you can understand why they're telling the truth and you can see the authenticity about the situation. But they talk about, like, the actual sexual acts. Like, you can say things like, he performed a certain thing on me. You don't have to talk about where he's playing his tongue and how he's moving it. And, like, dude, it's super, super, super graphic to the point where just with the words is almost as graphic as actually fucking seeing it. Like, it made me feel, like, fucking sick to my stomach.
It's actually pretty sad that they have to bring up those graphic details, because the thing is, they probably had to bring it up so many times before in court and whatnot when this happened. Oh, yeah. That's just like, yeah, basically, like, I've just gotten used to saying it, because basically they will try to get everything out of you to try to see, like, if your stories basically match up or, like, something's different, which is also another sad thing, because when it comes to victims, not everyone, unless they have a really good memory, is going to actually remember exactly how it went down. Like, for example, like, let's say a sexual assault case went down, like, and it's basically, like 6 months later afterwards, and you're, like, finally, like, up on, like, on trial, and they're asking you everything that happened, and you say, like, oh, yeah, well, basically, he rubbed up and down my left leg. Your left leg? Oh, I thought it was your right. Oh, I'm sorry. And then he said this thing. Oh, yeah. I don't remember you saying that I don't remember you saying that before. Oh, I actually just remember that. Because it's so traumatic, people remember stuff differently, which is why these cases are also so difficult.
But in situations like that, and this is where I get into just the filmmaking aspect of the suit, because this is still a film, it is a documentary, it is something that, a whole team made. It's not just these guys talking like it's a fucking YouTube live stream. You know what I mean? Like, this is a production. And I gotta talk about, this is a shitty production. This is bad. Way too fucking long. Overusage of the same shots. For instance, 2-minute lawn shots where you're seeing the road leading to Neverland, and they use it 3 to 4 fucking times within an hour and a half span, right? it's so fucking annoying seeing that. It's so annoying seeing multiple shots being used. The shot showing the candy thing. Like, get it? Kids like fucking candy. Candy, candy, candy. It's like, dude, I get the candy. They like the fucking candy. Yes. Thank you. And then, like, the editing. And I am an editor. I work for Double Toasted. I edit a lot of shit. So there's certain things that's like, I know the process of this. There's shit that you could do that's so fucking easy. And I don't know what happened, but Jet, we're watching this. And the beginning of this girl's dialogue, the mom, she forgets the name of her fucking kid.
That was so disrespectful. That's like the start of her basically talking. It's just like, anyway, like Michael, like, aw.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, what you said earlier, Jet, talking about, like, yeah, people need to remember their what they're saying, because in court, when people can be like, hey, you didn't say it the same way, or something's, you know, whatever. This is her fucking kid. How do you forget the name of your kid in one of the most important interviews of your life?
I don't think she forgot the name of her kid. It's like she just stumbled really bad or whatever because she was nervous about the filming, and she's like, oh, but just let her, like, let her do that over again. It was literally just the start. Like, they literally just could have said, like, oh, hey, like, let's roll that again. My bad. Are you prepared now? Do you need to calm down a bit? Like, no, they just kept that shit going. Like, aw.
And then she smiles. Like, this is one of the most important interviews of your life and most uncomfortable discussions. And you're like, Jimmy, John, anyways, you know, touch my kid in the fucking privates. Like, it's like, dude, like, please, take it seriously. This is a big fucking story. We just got done with surviving R. Kelly, and there's still women stuck inside of a fucking hotel probably somewhere being used as sex slaves. Like, can we take this? Like, you're competing. HBO, dude, you guys have so much fucking money. And you're going to have Lifetime show you out and fucking, like, do better than you? Like, what the fuck is your problem? Stuff like that, and how long this thing is, and the very limited editing, and telling the same stories. They have a 15-minute piece on Michael Jackson's faxes and his handwriting and how long he talks to the kid on the phone. And it's like, it's important, but you could have told that story in 2 minutes. They talk and all repeat the same thing. I don't know if you watch a lot of documentaries, Alan, but there's situations where, like, you look at, like, Gangland or something like that too, but, like, they'll have people who experience the same thing tell the stories, but the editor will take the best part of the story and have them show their side of it, like, on the finished project. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Fire Festival, where they would jump between, like, again, one of my favorite parts of Fire Festival is the infamous dick sucking story, and they cut to his friend and they're like, hey, tell us the story, and he goes, I'm not fucking telling that story. If you wanted him to tell that story, you talk to him. As they cut to him telling the story, they edited that really, really well, where it's like, okay, you set it up in this weird way of, like, what the fuck's going on as you lead into the story. So it's like, yeah, that could be done very well. But one of the things that you and Jet said is, like, well, they're telling the exact same story, or they trying to change. I think that's one of those things where telling a story, it's a double-edged sword, because if you tell a different story than in court, it's like, well, you told a different story in court. Were you lying then, or are you lying now? But then if you tell the exact same story, it's like, well, did you just rehearse the story? It's like, you're looking bad no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you can tell that story.
So hard.
Yeah, and that's what's so frustrating about this, because I want to take it seriously, and it's horrible to say, or it's horrible to blame the victim, but you look at how badly this was made. Like, I'm sorry, but, like, production-wise, this is kind of poo-poo. You know?
Yeah, I think I saw, like,
made. It's just more like, it's just the run-of-the-mill documentary. I would compare it to basically, like, Kidnapped in Plain Sight. It was basically almost the same look. The exact same. It just your run-of-the-mill documentary. It didn't have as much production as, like, Fire Festival or Surviving R. Kelly. Where I actually think they messed up on is, instead of making that first episode 2 whole hours, and apparently the second one's also 2 whole hours, is they actually could have did what they did with R. Kelly and basically split it up into, like, 30 minutes or so. Because there's points where, like, I'm getting both the kids confused because they were around the same age and they did look exactly the same, to where I'm just like...
Both in Australia, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
You know, no, weren't they both in Australia or some? They're in the same country, and Michael Jackson met them both from his performances over there, correct? Or I think I'm getting that wrong.
I believe so, because there was one point in the documentary where I guess, like, one of the kids noticed that Michael was hanging out with another boy from Australia a lot more than him, and he just, like, oh, so he's another boy from Australia, and he's spending more time with them. I guess I'm not the favorite anymore.
Yeah,
because he had, like, basically when, like, while they were there, they would, like, Michael would sleep with him, like, in the room and sleep together in the bed, while that kid, they said, sleep on the couch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, there's certain situations too. And once again, there's another thing that's making me get mad as well about all these documentaries is certain people will tell their victimized story. Like the mom, like, oh, I was so upset. I was just trying to call because he wouldn't answer the phone. And then he told me everything was fine. Then I believed him. And I was like, okay, I was feeling your story. I was upset because the mother lost her son. It's so fucked up. And then you have very obvious evidence that he's fucking your kid, and you're like, well, I mean, he says okay, so fine. It's like, okay.
That mom, that brunette was the worst mom I think I've ever fucking seen. Like, at this point, like, can it be like abuse to be that fucking oblivious?
Yeah, that neglectful.
Where, like, yeah, he's asking to like sleep in your son's room on his bed, and then basically you're just like, well, I don't know about that. And then basically when your kid keeps begging, he's just like, okay, go sleep with Michael. Like, huh?
Yeah. Belly, if you have kids that ever want to do drugs, would you ever be like, okay, well, he asked me 5 times, let him have the crack? Like, you know what I mean? It's just, you don't do that. That
was one of my things with Michael Jackson, because I've always kind of been iffy on it, because one of the things about Michael is it's not where R. Kelly, where we have hard evidence and it's like it's been a history and it's been established for so long. Whereas he kind of died down and disappeared after the first court case. Whereas fucking R. Kelly kind of took that as like, yo, I'm the Teflon Don. I can do this shit all I want now. And took that shit like to his 10th degree. Yeah. So now he's paying for that. Whereas he, after this case, I don't think he actually did anything afterwards. Whereas if he was a habitual abuser, he probably would have been caught more in the sense of that. Or like a lot of people do, because he got proven innocent in the court of law. As far as we know, people are just going to give up, be like, oh, well, even if it's a weird situation, people are going to be like, oh, well, it's Michael Jackson. We already know he didn't do it because he was found innocent. And it's one of those hard things to do with this because, one, there have been cases of them busting people that had lied about him. Like the FBI has like come out and said a few kids that they interviewed in the past were lying to get some money out of it. And that's the problem with Michael Jackson is there's so much like different stories. Like these guys might be telling the truth in terms of their encounter with Michael, but I know in the history of Michael, because me and Trey have talked about this a bunch of times because he's a fan of Michael Jackson. And me and him were big into the case when it happened. Is there's a lot of iffy stuff with Michael because for every like people that come out and say like he didn't get abused and hell like I forget who the dude was, but he was a notorious victim of abuse in Hollywood and he would talk about it all the time and he would defend Michael and say like out of all the people that abused me, Michael was one of the people that did it, and that guy kind of suicided his career already by coming out against pedophilia in Hollywood. So it's kind of hard for me to believe that he would just protect Michael still. If his goal was to out them all. But then again, Michael did sleep with kids that weren't his like kids or related to him. So it's one of those things like, how much is this because the man is like was just mentally shocked to be like in a 14-year-old his whole life. So he thought it was just normal sleepover shit like you do with your friends when you sleep over. Yeah, or he's using that as an excuse to hide his pedophilia because he knows that everyone knows that shit about him. It's just one of those things that's kind of fucking iffy. And because the man's dead, is like we're not really going to get anything out of it anyways.
Yeah, so it was such a fruitless fucking attempt at a documentary and a premise. And it's like, I'm not saying
none of that. Like with R. Kelly's documentary, they at least save a victim.
Yeah,
they literally saved a person.
Yeah, and there's a narrative going on with the R. Kelly thing where it's like it's building up. Like for one, too, and like I know everything about Michael Jackson at this point. I think everybody does. But just for someone who probably doesn't, maybe there's that one guy, or just for the sake of storytelling, tell us how his childhood was. Tell us, like with R. Kelly, you got to hear about like, okay, he was probably touched when he was a kid. His brother doesn't like him anymore. He doesn't know how to read. Like you hear about R. Kelly shit, then you find out about his first victim, blah blah blah. Michael Jackson is just like, hey guys, you know Michael Jackson. Anyways, he raped kids.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things because like I really don't know much about Michael Jackson just because that was a bit before my time. So by the time I grew up, he was like all this shit happened. So it's like you hear about the court case, but I didn't really know anything about him. So me walking in, it's like probably dude, he spent 4 hours and he didn't really spend like 10 minutes establishing because with R. Kelly, it's like they spent like an episode establishing this is what R. Kelly was, but they made it relevant,
Yeah, and the chat baby lotion. I was saying, I mean, if I'm a little boy and I can't sleep in the same bed with Michael Jackson, where can I sleep? And Kurt goes, the floor.
Nice.
No, I love that, man.
Yeah, the other 25 ROMs.
But yeah, SoundCloud. If you guys can't tell us what you think about the Michael Jackson thing, but me personally, with the rating of this, this is just the first part that I'm rating. I might not even watch the second part. It's making me feel fucking uncomfortable. I don't like watching this kind of stuff. But I would say avoid it. I would say that production quality wise, you don't really learn about Michael Jackson, and then you only get a fruitless side of the story. That's like, okay, if you already know, like, let's just say you know the story. You've already made up your mind whether or not you think he's fucking guilty or not. And by the way, the documentary doesn't really tell you if he's guilty or not. It's just, here's the side of the story that you already know. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of shit going on out there in the world. There's lots of content being put out. Don't watch this shit. You want to hear about kids being touched? Like, what the fuck, dude? Avoid this at all costs. Jet, what do you think?
I wouldn't say avoid it. I mean, it is a documentary and whatnot, and they're not really saying like, yeah, this dude's completely guilty. They're just trying to get the victim stories out there. Because honestly, if anything, if this does do anything, since like he's not alive anymore, at least the victims get like justice in some sense, that they were basically out like able to say like, yeah, this dude did this to me. I'm not saying to stop listening to his music or anything, but yeah, he did what he did.
Exactly.
So I would say stream it in that sense. But yeah, it's run-of-the-mill documentary.
Actually, this brings up something that I've always wanted to ask. It's like me and Nick have talked about music a lot of time, and me and Alan have talked about that in the past too. About even recently, I talked to my girlfriend recently about this. Is a lot of stars and a lot of famous people back in the day. They were really known for going like after underage people. I know Steven Tyler and a bunch of other people, especially like a lot of those early rock bands, were notorious guilty of it. David Bowie fucking wrote him. I think it was one of his biographies or someone had read a biography about him, how he took a virginity of known like the underage groupie that people would pass around and basically fuck to their life content. And it's something that's horrible within the Hollywood and just music industry, and kind of a lot of those industries that came out of like those 60s and 70s runs back when Lolita was a big thing. And I feel like a lot of this shit is people are like trying to say like, oh, well, what about Elvis? What about this? And I feel like if you're just trying to search for other pedophiles, like, one, it's good on you now to be calling these people out for that. But if you're just doing it just to play like the whataboutism game, that's not the point of all this stuff. Like, the point of this stuff is to out these people for what they've done in the past, and hopefully they get better and better as people and kind of admit for what they've done. But in the terms of like just trying to throw people under the bus, just to put so-called safeguard somebody that you might think is guilty, it doesn't make them any less guilty of what they've done.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I completely agree with you in that sense, man. But yeah, just as far as like, I mean, because one thing too, people always probably, and maybe I'm just defending myself just in case. So sorry if it comes across that way. That's probably what I'm doing. I don't even know. But it's just like sometimes people talk shit about a documentary of something so serious, and then everyone's like, "Oh wow, like how heartless can you be?" Blah blah blah. But it's like, guys, it's same thing with listening to music. I know somebody in the chat was saying they're still gonna bump Thriller tomorrow. And like, dude, do that. Like, that's totally fine. You can separate that. Like, you can separate this production from the situation. I'm sorry, this production sucked. But I'm not saying that these people suck that are talking about. I mean, if they went through this shit, then that's horrible, and I feel sorry for them. But I had to sit through this. It was rough to watch, you know. And the music goes, dude. There's so many people involved with making Thriller. You know, there's many great directors, many great arts effectors and shit who did all that. So it's like I can't say fuck Thriller, don't ever watch it, because there's only one pervert in that fucking thing, and that was Michael Jackson. He's dead.
But he's
now.
the person you're hearing. Like,
no, I know, but it's like there's so many dancers. I mean, there's so many people involved in that. Like, don't hate on everybody that was involved and shun this beautiful art. You know.
True.
I just
I get happy.
I mean, you already decided that you really like the music. It's just like it's hard to separate it, but no one's saying you can't. You can still listen to his music because like his music's been popular for fucking years. Like, you can't all of a sudden just go like, yeah, I hate this song now. But yeah, Michael Jackson did do this, but I'm still gonna listen to his music. You can do that.
Exactly.
I don't know. I can't listen to remix to Ignition anymore, man.
R. Kelly is way different.
Yeah. Every song's about fucking, and like age doesn't matter, and etc. So it's pretty fucked up. But
like Michael wasn't making songs. I touch the kids when we sleep together.
Exactly. Yeah. But Jet, really quick before we move on to the next thing, what did you rate this, by the way?
Yeah, I said stream it.
Streaming, okay, yeah. So definitely run of the mill type thing there, like she said. And I wouldn't disagree too much with that, but I hate harder, that's what Ruthless would say. And Alan hates more, which, speaking of that, it's time to Alan to get back in that seat, as well as Ganja Guru. I'm not gonna throw you under the bus.
We're doing this together.
I've been driving that bus all day today. My arms are tired.
He doesn't know how to drive.
I gotta stop at the diner and get some food.
The thing is, you guys talked about something called Beyond the Curve. Now, I ain't hear about this at all. Is this something that's kind of old, Ganja, or is this?
No, this shit's brand new and trending, man. This is, I think, the newest release from Netflix in the last 3 or 4 weeks. And basically, it's a documentary that's like for the favorite subject that we like to talk about here on the show, as well as other shows. Check out the Illuminati Podcast and oldfireburn.com. Alan, the Flat Earthers are back, and they got a great fucking documentary that was fun and entertainment in many ways. But I'm gonna let you take it over because you are basically deep undercover. You're the Steve Irwin of the Flat Earth Society. So please educate us.
While you guys do this, I'm gonna go walk off the edge. I'll be back.
Oh, so for a minute, I don't know why we are even honestly fucking talking about this. Children of the Toast for the last, I want to say 3 or 4 months, out of almost just morbid curiosity and honestly just a huge fucking joke, a conversation me, Ruthless, and Ganja were having one night about crazy communist theories. I said, fuck it, I'm going to join a Flat Earth group and see how crazy these people are. And like everybody else, I'm like, these people are just idiots. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And I'm not just going to be a bunch of morons that don't know how to fucking add 2 + 2 together all in a fucking chat. And then I started going deeper under. I'm like, okay, no. Not only am I still continuing to be right, it's way worse and way scarier than I originally anticipated. Because it's a mix of them not understanding science, but they're so confident in their understanding of misinformation that they're convincing other people and telling other people that they're wrong. Like they don't believe in space. They believe space is fake. They believe we've never been to space. There was someone in the chat that worked on satellites, and people were telling him that his job was a lie and his job didn't exist. And believed it. This isn't a joke. Like, people are believing this shit. So when Ganja texts me, he's like, "Yo, we're gonna watch a Flat Earth documentary." I'm like, no. I'm sick of this shit. I've been seeing this shit for months. I've been seeing people just get shut down. People trying to have like honest conversations being muted or banned because the fucking moderators are refusing to let their science fucking go through. Any time that they might get slightly peeved because there's 80 people calling them liars, they get fucking muted because they put one little swear. But as long as you insult someone that believes in the globe Earth, you're perfectly fine. But you insult a Flat Earther, oh no, it's suddenly fucking mayhem because they have such fucking fragile egos. So when Ganja texts me up, it's like, we're watching a fucking Flat Earth documentary. I actually straight up told him, I'm not fucking watching that. But he told me we have to fucking sit down and watch it. So we did, and it's like, the best way to kind of describe it is it's very, I don't know, I don't think it's a good documentary because I feel that it's a fluff piece for Flat Earthers. Because I think it was paid for them. I'm pretty sure it was paid for them. And I think that's probably why it's so fluffy. But it's kind of like a dick sucking contest for the Flat Earthers, because it's talking about how this Flat Earth trend almost the last couple of years. They say 2015 there wasn't much going on. Then a year later, everything. Now Trump got elected in 2016, and I'm not saying those are correlated, but Flat Earthers, Trump, they came out at the same time. Point is, don't vote for Trump 2020. But what's going on is that you see so many of these people, it's like, well, why did this happen? Why did the Flat Earthers, like, they ask the question, like, well, why is the Flat Earth conspiracy exploding so much more than some of the other bullshit we have, like the Illuminati being lizards or the 9/11 attacks? And I think what it was is because it's so benign. When you hear Flat Earthers, you laugh, you make a joke. No one really cares because they're not hurting anybody. But if someone's saying 9/11 was an inside job, people died there. People have family that died there. So it's like, that's a tough subject to have a conversation about. But Flat Earth, everyone laughs it off, so it became this big event where people that don't understand science are joining together to talk about it, and to basically, it's this whole confirmation bias. I don't understand how the moon works, so I think it works like this, even though it goes against all science. Well, everyone's calling me an idiot. Wait, you're not calling me an idiot? Wait, here, let me explain to you more. Oh, you get it now? Now we're friends. Now they're doing that to millions of people. And millions of people they're going to conferences, they're doing all of this stuff. And that's basically what the whole movie is about, is how this phenomena became viral, and how there are millions of Flat Earthers that don't believe in space, that don't believe we ever went to the moon, that don't believe in NASA. They believe NASA's the enemy. And there's a heavy religious component to this where they believe the firmament, which is the dome that's explained in the Bible, is where we live on this planet. That's and outside the experiments, they try to perform experiments and hilariously prove the Earth is curved through their own fucking experiments. But that's not what I want to talk about. The reason I say this is a fluff piece is because they're not talking about the dark underbelly. They're not talking about the actual Flat Earthers that will insult people based on whatever the fuck they want to insult, call everything around them fake, insult veteran astronauts and veteran soldiers that believe in space. Insult anybody that will fucking do that and yell at them and ban them and kick them out of communities simply because they disagree with them. This is a giant fucking fluff piece that makes Flat Earthers look like a bunch of children when in fact they're malicious fucking monsters that are not only convincing themselves, they're convincing the next generation. They're telling their kids, don't believe in the globe, don't believe in government, don't believe in your school. And you see this all over America right now, where teachers are not able to control their fucking classrooms because of motherfuckers like this basically saying all of their teaching is lying. Teachers have enough bullshit to deal with in their fucking lives. Teachers have a hard enough fucking job. And these idiots that can barely fucking add are telling them that everything they're teaching is a lie. This is a fucking problem.
All right, I'm gonna have to jump in now because I kind of got where these people are coming from.
No, now, man, I'll fight you.
I believe the world is still round. Like, I don't know the fuck they talking about when it comes to that shit. Like, I'm never gonna come support that idea. But in terms of like them as people, and one of the aspects that they kind of talk about is kind of you kind of displayed in your review a little bit was one of the things they talk about is like a lot of these people, the reasons that they kind of come to these big conspiracy theories, or they come into a lot of these lines of thinking in terms of avoiding like actual science, is because they kind of get shunned by people that are quote unquote experts. And when they talk to quote unquote experts, they're more likely just to dissuade them and kind of push them down and actually encourage them to actually look forward to it or actually explain it to them in a way that it's understandable. It's just, you should know what I'm talking about because I'm smarter than you. And I kind of get that from them when they say that, hey, I don't want to believe these guys because every time I try to ask them questions, they just go straight to I'm crazy, I'm stupid, and I'm a danger to society. And I know this is probably somewhat of a fluff piece because you never know. They never like to show the trolls on what. They do show one guy that's, I think, the original founder of the idea, who was a quote-unquote artist for NASA when it came to making the more of the pictures well done and well rendered, which is something you have to do because there's different X-rays and rays in space that fuck up footage for cameras. So you're going to need artist rendition to make it look more cleaner and stuff for people to actually, quote-unquote, invest into NASA because that's how they make their money now. And that's what they need to in order to get people excited for like space and all that shit. So I get the idea of why they do it, but he took it as a big thing that the Earth is flat, and then he quote unquote said that people said that the Earth was flat to him at a cocktail party, and that kind of kicked up this whole theory. And when it comes to like this, is besides those people that are hardcore anti-NASA and just crazy sociopaths that are taking this to the 10th level, that are trying to make this a political movement itself, a lot of these people, man, I kind of feel for. Because as the documentary goes on, I'm starting to see that a lot of these people either have, one, no social life, two, they either have a job they work at that they don't feel respected, they don't feel like they matter, or three, they've kind of always been social fringe outcasts that are more used to being shunned and ridiculed than actually brought in and explained things, or just shown like love and affection. And that was something that kept sticking out to me the most was when they interview these people, a lot of these people are just lonely. They have no friends or families, or the families and friends they had when they started to become flat earthers, instead of trying to dissuade them in the sense of like just being around them, still being a friend, and just, yeah, this is my fuck, like kind of what Joe Rogan does with Eddie Bravo. Yeah, that's my friend. He believes in a lot of crazy shit, but he's still my friend because he's a good person in the day. Yeah. They are just completely shut out their lives by friends and family because of their beliefs. And I kind of get that idea because I've seen that in so many other subcultures. Like I brought up the Juggalo documentary, which kind of made me way more sympathetic to Juggalos. Hell, even the community we come from, Double Toasted, I see a lot of similarities with that. Because
what about the bronies?
Well, them too. Yeah, it's literally the same thing because it seems like people just want to go to a place where they connect. They have a feeling they belong and their opinions are validated and people care for what they have to say. And yeah, that just goes into sometimes negative shit where people are trying to make the earth flat, but I don't know, like I feel like being so ridiculed like the way you're doing it, Alan, I feel like that pushes more people to see that because the community, when you become a flat earther, is so loving and accepting that motherfuckers made a custom bike for the event and spent I don't know how much money on wood and a fucking electricity and just making that shit run properly from the engine like side of it. And it's just to show off and hang out with their buddies. And I just see them like, I don't know. It's just like at one point this guy's walking around, Mark Sargent, and he's hanging out these conventions, Nick, and he's literally like Corey Coleman. People are walking up to him, shaking his hand, yo, man, I like your videos, bro. You entertain me, taking photos with them, asking him to sign shirts and shit. And at one point, he started getting swag. Like people started making stuff for him, like flat Earth, like objects and stuff. And I don't know, man. I get what you're coming from. It's misinformation at the end of the day, and it's really trying to make people like dissuaded in like things that are actual science and things that are hardcore facts. But when you look at the community side aspect of it, I can't help but feel sympathetic to these people.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing too is like, and I didn't see this, and this is one of the things I do discuss a couple of times, and I will make this short, but it's like, you know. How would you feel if somebody really disagreed with Double Toasted or disagreed with the shit that we do in our community, and then they just look at you without even talking to you and say, "Oh, you're a Double Toasted fan? Fucking stupid!" And it's like, no, like I know that, like Alan, you said this in the chat too, that you have always been in pursuit of knowledge your entire life. Other people have not been. You know what I mean? Like that's I feel it's a prejudice. Like, you can be prejudiced in both good and bad, and I don't like prejudice in either way. You know what I mean? Like, if someone's a flat earther, let me talk to them first before I say, oh, you're a flat earther, well, you're fucking retarded then. It's like, that's still prejudice. That's mean. That's mean-spirited. I don't,
okay,
you know?
and I understand that, and I know there's something Ganja was saying earlier that's like, you know, a lot of the times where it's like, oh, they get turned away. And yeah, I'm willing to take the, I'm willing to, as the closest thing to representative scientific community we have in the MCA, I am understanding the reason this happened is because of scientists. It's because of us. We caused this problem. We were talking about this after the movie, and we're like, yeah, the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, scientists were rock stars. Everyone was listening to radios, newspapers, books, because they wanted to know, like, what's the next scientific discovery? What's the next thing Einstein's going to say? What's the next, thing that this guy's going to create? I remember learning about science, and Bohr and Rutherford, they were the best friends of science. They were the science rock stars. Everyone wanted to know, what are they going to create next? Everyone hated Planck because he was an asshole. Like, there was so much happening with the scientific community that everyone wanted to know. And after a while, it just got so complacent where people didn't really care about the science. So as scientists, we just became withdrawn. We're like, well, we're just going to stick in our own community. But that meant that the general population was no longer being taught by us. That's our job. We're supposed to teach. We're supposed to discover this stuff, but we're supposed to teach to the general population so that they understand what is going on. And somewhere along the way, we just stopped. And that's stop laughing when I'm talking.
Fucking Kirk said something great inside the. I think it was the Twitch chat.
Flat Earth
said,
"Oh my god,
fear itself."
I've been tagged in that so many goddamn times. But anyway, I do take a lot of the solace on it. And the reason why I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, you know what, let them believe what they want to believe, is this is what the documentary is not showing, is this misinformation is causing a prejudice of their own, where they're like, if you believe in anything else but what we believe in, which in some cases is highly religious, they start to attack you. Before someone throws, it's not like someone pops in and goes, man, fucking flat earthers are stupid. Some guy goes like, well, if we're on a globe, explain this. That's the most popular fucking phrase you'll see when you join the group. If the earth is round, explain this. And then someone goes, explain it. It's like, well, you're lying and that's fake. It's like, what are you talking about? This is from a source. Well, that source is lying and from the government's troll, and you're a government troll, or you're a troll. Or they'll get muted. And it's like, I'm trying to explain this stuff in a way that has having a conversation, and you're ready to kick me out. But the biggest problem in this is they're so connected in spreading their own bullshit, and I really wish the documentary went into this, but I'm assuming it was funded by flat earthers because it does not even touch on this, is the flat earthers are so convinced with their misinformation, it leads into dangerous situations, which leads into my true enemy. Flat earthers are a bunch of morons, and they don't keep me up as much as anti-vaxxers. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because you start seeing in the flat earth community is they're joining forces. Is the misinformation and the distrust of government is now going into other scientific pursuits where people are no longer believing in vaccines. This whole thing with flat earthers is a benign, it's laughable. The exact same thing happened with vaccines, where people stop believing in medical experts, people stop believing in the CDC, and people stop believing in science, and now they're like, well, vaccines cause autism. Well, shit, everyone's lying. It's the exact same fucking terminology. It's like, well, if vaccines are safe, then how come I still got sick? Well, if vaccines are safe, then how come it's this and how come it's that? It's the exact same phrasing. The only difference is that anti-vaxxers are literally killing people. That is the only difference between these two fucking groups. They have the same knowledge, they have the same prejudices, and they have the same start, where somebody just said something so fucking stupid and just went fucking forward to this. So why I'm mad at flat earthers is because they are the same fucking core as anti-vaxxers, and now they're joining forces, which just doubles the amount of misinformation that is just growing and festering in our society. And it's like, this fucking flat earth documentary just shows that. We and God were laughing our asses off when they fucking spent, I don't know how many, I think $20,000 trying to set up an experiment to prove themselves false. They went out of the way to spend thousands of dollars to prove something that already exists. It's like trying to tell me, yo man, this ice cube's cold. I spent $15,000 to prove it. Like, what? What are you fucking stupid? Like, what is wrong with you?
Me personally, I just like the way the documentary is well done, and it's one of the things that I know Alan has a problem with. But I like the way they do the both sides thing, because it's trying. Because with a lot of documentaries, they're either pro one side or pro another. And I think the best thing about it was just a biased portrayal, and they were just hanging out these people. And I think the fact these people did come from like social casts and fringes of the society, that I felt a little more connected to them because I got their loneliness from that. But in the day, Alan is right. Their ideology can be dangerous, but it's starting to be more in the sense of not my personal belief, but I have to educate everyone else on this. And they do have like an international organization they're set up. They're trying to reach out to other groups and stuff. Like, so they are really trying to change what people believe when it comes to like Earth and like science, and it comes like the planetary stuff, because their goal is eventually cheat flat Earth alongside round Earth theory, as they call it. And I'm not dealing with that shit again because we deal with that shit evolution and Christian theory all the time with creationism. And we don't need that or repeat again. So I kind of get where he's coming from. But at the end of the day, they are people, and I do think they need a little more love and understanding if you want them to change. So when it comes to that, I think honestly you should rent it and just or buy it. It's really between the two. I think if you're interested on the subject, it's definitely a buy it. If you're more of a half-ass and want to see like a cool, like almost a Fire Festival style documentary, rent it, and I think you'll still have a good time.
Yeah, and Alan, what would you rate this, man?
Honestly, it's one of those things where it's an avoid it. Because it's going to fluff it up and make it seem like it's, oh, they're not that big of a deal. It's all fun and games, right? Nah, man. And the worst part is again, I do blame scientists for this, or we're not as outspoken as that. My biggest fear with this is it's going to suck more people into the flat earth. Because the way they talk about it, the way they don't even bother to explain the other shit. Like, if you don't understand, I guess, rudimentary physics, which, hey, so a lot of people don't because they either never took it in high school or never cared to remember. The experiments at the end, like, they might not understand the significance of it, but me and Ganja, who have two completely different levels of education, completely, you know,
Class of GED 2016.
We had two completely different levels of education, and then from two completely different fields, we're like, this can't fucking work. But I'm afraid that people, especially young generations that don't understand the same things that we have because we had experience, are going to start falling for the flat Earth. I feel like this is just a version of propaganda. So I honestly want to say avoid this because I'm afraid people are going to be flat earthers after this. I'm afraid this is going to just expel it and make it even worse of a problem.
Well, what do you think about really popular YouTubers basically telling people that the world is flat, like Shane Dawson?
Yeah, they're the exact same problem. A lot of these people are either big YouTubers or work with big YouTubers. So it's like they are spreading this problem and it's like they need to be fucking stopped.
No, Babe Ocean in the chat, he's saying, I don't know, Alan, I think you just convinced me the Earth is flat. So, yeah, I mean, the thing, and he takes that seriously. I wouldn't say that to him. He gets mad.
I know people are fucking with me because it's me, but it's just like,
it's not even just a you thing because like if we don't, it's literally like, look, me being a non-religious person, I fully believe that like. No one I know nowadays it's kind of cool to be racist against white people, and it's kind of cool to be like, hey, if you're a Trump supporter, you're a dumb fuck, or you're a flat earther, you're a dumb fuck. I don't believe in that because that would still be prejudice. So it's like you either like I don't understand like left wing versus right wing. I don't understand flat earth versus sphere earth. I don't understand race versus other race. God, non-God. It's just like, dude, like just let people. If they're fucking dumb in your opinion, then let them be dumb. You know, it's just, and I know that you think it's more and more serious, but it's like, and it is more serious. Like, I'm not going to take that away. Like, it's super fucking serious. I mean, it's going to be the life and death of this fucking planet. So it is pretty fucking serious. But at the same time, if it's so dumb, then it's like, okay, then the right side and people saying that the fucking earth is not flat, they're not putting up a good enough argument or a good enough amount of information that, you know, like, people should not be believing this. There's a reason why they're believing it. It's not because the flat earthers sound fucking so sane that we can't argue with it. It's that the other side's like, it's round. Oh, okay, well, these guys are going out their fucking way, making shit up even, to get us on their side. Well, I'm going to go with the side that fucking wants me on their side.
Yeah, you know? But the problem with that statement, and I wish the documentary goes in, is because it never does, is they keep denying it. It's not that we're not trying. We are literally trying. Like even before I joined
it's not hard.
It's not working because they think it's fake and CGI. Dude, they'll literally sit there and look at live footage. By the way, live footage of NASA and go CGI and fake. It's like you're seeing the water, right? You're seeing it floating in the air, and you're calling it CGI and fake. It's like you know the level of CG we fucking have, right? Water doesn't work at CG. Trust me, they fucking tried. Like, yeah. Look at any fucking, $150 million movie that tries to use fucking water. It doesn't always it never fucking works. Because water is really hard to replicate. But it's not that we're not trying, because you see people trying. But they get called liars, fakes, and trolls anytime they fucking try. Or they'll be like, oh, that doesn't fucking work.
But, like, if you look at this, like, even in the internet realm, it's like, you know what's always talked about? Flat earthers. Like, they're trending, not round earthers. You know what I mean? Like, there's no term for the other way. It's like, it's almost like they know that they're going to be talked about in a sense. They want the attention, so they're just saying dumb shit, and they're setting people who believe the world is flat, they're setting them into a frenzy. Oh, God, no, it's not that. And it's like it's triggering like a fucking worldwide epilepsy. And it's like, dude, like, just look at it and say, okay, yeah, you're fucking wrong. Let's move on with our day. You know, but it's like they know that they're fucking with you. It's like it's literally, it's like watching someone get fucked with and triggered and you just don't know that you are. So it's kind of like sad seeing.
But again, because they're calling you a liar and a fake, but they believe it. It's not like that. They're not trolling. They believe this shit. They believe you're lying and fake and all this shit is evil and that NASA is the deceptor. That they're trying to create a world order. It's not that situation where they're just trolling because they want to get a rise out of you. They believe it. That's the scary part, is they believe that that's real. They believe that the sun is 50 miles above us and that the moon and the sun are on an axis. They believe this shit. That's what you're not understanding, Nick.
No, I know. It's just they're dumb, but it's all good, man.
But they believe it.
You sound more crazy than them. Like,
he sounds like a guy with a sandwich board. They believe this shit.
I've been sending y'all pics for months, man. Those people believe
and I ignore them.
Shit. I know you ignore them. Maganja doesn't. They believe this shit so furiously that nobody can ever sit there and say anything against them.
But like, there's people that think Ascension's good. It's like I don't let them bother me. You know.
But that's different. That's like I don't even know. That's like trying to say Inception is the greatest motherfucking movie. Not even that, because that's an opinion on a movie. They're saying this on facts. They're basically saying, they believe the moon releases its own light like a firefly.
It's about the way it's just the way you say it. Like Cedric, his joke. It's actually a good joke because of the fact that like Alan, you're totally normal and I completely agree with you. But you make it sound like you're crazy. Like,
because you guys don't get what I'm seeing every day on my feed.
But I see it. We all see it, but we're not like.
No, you don't. You only see the fucking joke article that says, "Oh, ha, ha, flat Earth prove themselves."
You tell me what I see. I see this. You send me pictures.
You just said you ignored it.
I was joking. It's a goddamn show.
So what is the truth then?
Bigfoot is gay and so are the frogs.
Nah, man, because it's like.
That's all right. Yeah.
Again, there's so much that just gets under the fucking radar because any article people see is ha 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 flat earthers. It's like, nah, these people are organized.
Dude, the chat's just stealing this big time.
They're just running with
the flat earthers are turning our frogs gay. The chat's actually being better than us. I gotta tell you, the fucking SoundCloud guys, definitely check out the chat. Like go back and rewatch the shit because they're just fucking hilarious. But yeah, man. Normally would have more stuff to talk about, but I'm actually gonna segue us to get the fuck out of here because I am sleepy. I am tired. We got the after hours coming up. There's people over there that are sad, not having a great fucking day, not having a great fucking night. We're all gonna just wash all that away within the after hours. Mr. Ganja Guru, you son of a bitch. I'm sorry. I'm surprised I didn't fuck up. By the way, saying all that. I said a lot of words, and it was somewhat coherent. I would hope.
Came at me like Busta Rhymes there, just spinning those hard facts, baby. I love that shit.
Absolutely. So, man, let me ask you this really quick. Actually, I forgot what the fuck I was gonna ask you.
I don't know, the spiel, into the show.
Something about the chat. I don't know.
Maybe there's a Illuminati podcast me and Alan do.
And it's
maybe
like some
fire app. There's definitely some fire later on, but no. Like, we do the Illuminati podcast. Come check us out. It's on littlefireburn.com. Where me, Alan, Ruthless Wonder, we talk about politics, decide y'all future behind the glass door that is the Illuminati. We are in control. And, of course, you got other websites, Clever Girl, movies and shit. Where's My Burrito with Christian and his buddy. Make sure to go check that out. It's actually
That's such a racist. You know, by the way, Christian, I'm telling you, and I know you're probably going to watch this, and I'm going to apologize in private, but I'm going to talk shit here because it's a platform. Dude, you have the podcast equivalent to Sammy's taco hat. What, you can make a podcast called "Where's My Burrito"? You're offending me. I'm Mexican. Why the fuck would you make that joke? You son of a bitch.
Maybe he wants help.
That's true. I'll find his burrito. I'll find it, man. It's somewhere.
I believe in you.
I think it's in the Amino chat. Alan, why don't you tell people where to go to find his burrito?
Yes. Jesus Christ. If you want to go find his burrito, type in Midnight Chat Attack into Facebook. You'll find an embedded link to the Illuminati podcast, Little Fire Burning. The link is to the Illuminati podcast, but if you just click on the site there, you'll get to all the other podcasts and videos and everything else that's up. Well, while you're on the Facebook chat, be sure to check out the embedded links to all sorts of stuff, which includes the Twitch chat where we do most of our stuff. There's probably going to be the YouTube chat where we'll embed there at some point, just so you can get to all the other places we stream. There's an Amino chat where we post all information for upcoming shows, community questions. There's a 24-hour chat that goes there. There's all sorts of information for everything that's coming up there. And so if you want to hear us incoherently babble of all sorts of things, be sure to check that out. And if you want to hear me incoherently babble on one of us, check there out for Final Days of Gotham. There'll be a new episode in a couple of days. Same thing with the Breakfast Pub and a bunch of other screeners. So be sure to check that out.
Yeah, man, definitely check out oneofus.net too. They're a great podcast, and I love that Alan's actually doing stuff with Justin. Speaking of Justin Zarian, I'm probably not gonna hear from you tonight because you're over there getting laid, Mr. Honeymooner. All right.
Stick that shit in right deep.
Yeah. Guess the missionary as your fucking religious thing was. I don't know.
Praise Lord Jesus Christ while between those late boys. Praise him.
Congratulations, Justin Zeri, man. I'm so glad. I've been making fun of you for not getting a pussy for like 5 years. So you're finally married, and she looks like a sweet person. You guys have lots in common. Seriously, like I know I'm making jokes talking about vagina and shit, but seriously, dude, like love's in the air. I'm really, really happy for you. Everyone, send your congratulations to Justin Zeri. He's a fucking cool dude. I met him in real life, so trust me. I mean, he's still nerdy as shit. I mean, goddamn, he's nerdy.
Congratulations,
in the right hole.
This is the worst congratulations I've ever
remember,
heard.
if you don't do it in the right hole, you're going to hell.
Worst congratulations ever.
Hey, it's the MCA, baby. What you expect? Just fucking flowers and birds and shit?
A little bit, maybe.
Oh, also, if you guys want to join us in the after hours later, check it out on the Twitch. We're going to put a link there. Amino, Facebook, anywhere you guys can get in contact. Hell, even Facebook messages. We're not above that.
Yeah, exactly. And,
Wait, sorry, even Facebook messages were not above that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people out here are part of the community think they're above people and not messaging them back.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, Nick,
y'all
why
know.
aren't you doing that?
Don't you put that shit on me. It's Sammy. I don't give a fuck, people.
Damn,
Sammy
okay,
sucks.
you have to call him out.
Hey, Sammy, talk to the audience. So
And
anyway,
he ain't watching the show.
he probably is, and that's when he'll say something.
That'd be hilarious. Yeah, I'm watching. Bitch, like, oh, thanks.
Unless he's advertising the gaming show. Hey guys, watch me. I need something to do.
The
Oh my
real question
God.
is, who is he going to drive to?
Sorry, what?
I don't know. People, get the fuck out here before I get yelled at. I'm probably gonna get yelled at anyways. It's all good. I like doing it. So thank you guys for watching once again. It's time for us to get the fuck out of here on that 3 and on that 2, Mr.
2,
Guru.
1, attack the chat!
Thank you guys for all them hearts. So sweet, so kind. Jet, what were you gonna say? Goddammit.
You know, it's so weird, like we're devolving backwards. At this point, I thought we would have flying cars and shit, but now we're just bringing back the bubonic fucking plague.
Oh, not yet. But leave us the anti-vaxxers. We'll bring that back.
Why did anyone actually believe that we're gonna have flying cars and those fucking self-lacing shoes? Like that was not gonna happen.
Fuck yeah. Dude, we have self-lacing shoes.
We do?
Yeah, they're real. They're super expensive, but they're real.
Where are they at?
In stores?
You sell them in your
Up
store?
my ass.
Nah.
Oh, I'll be right back, y'all. I don't give me some shoes. Woo!